Hi everybody, this is Miss Fowler here to teach you about Nearpod and GetEpic.com today. Just a quick introduction. I'm not going to get into all of the bells and whistles of the programs. So if you have any questions, hold them until the end and shoot me an email with them, and I will use them to make another PD to better help you. So we're going to do Nearpod first, so I want you to go to nearpod.com. And you'll see whenever I pull this up, a couple of things I want you to make note of. The first thing is that it's going to ask you to, you're going to click this login button right here whenever you're ready to log in. But students will have to have a code to join your lessons, and this is where they'll put that code in. But we're not doing that quite yet, so we're going to click login. And then you're going to click login with Microsoft Office 365. And it might ask you to put in your credentials, but it didn't for me this time. So whenever we log in, it's going to bring us to our library. And the first thing you want to check is that you see these words right here, school library and district library. That tells you that you have been given the full access from central office. So after you've double checked that, the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to add some lessons into your library. You can see I have a lot, but when you first log in, you won't have any, so you're going to want to click on that Nearpod library button. This is the Nearpod library. There are hundreds of things available by topic, by holiday, lots of different things, but I am going to come over here. And as you can see, you can search by subjects, by grades, or by standards. I'm actually going to search by subjects and grades, so I'm going to choose English Language Arts. Then I'm going to choose 6th grade. Now that I've narrowed it down, I can scroll through here and see something that I am interested in. This one looks interesting to me, so I'm going to click this Preview Lesson button. When I get here, I can just kind of click through the slides, make sure I like it, make sure it's appropriate for students, and when you're ready, you will click, this will be a blue button that will say add to my library. Once you have added it to your library, this will show up, show in my library. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to click this Nearpod symbol, and it's always going to bring you back to your library. So here it is, you can see it right here, the lesson that I just added. Once that's added to library and you're ready to actually launch the lesson for your students, you have two options. You can either do a live participation or you can do a student paced. Live participation is usually good for whenever you're trying to do live instruction. You're in control of the slides. You click through them as fast or as slow as you want, and you can actually see students working on the activities as it happens. Student pace, they work at their own pace. They control the slides and how fast they go through it. And you don't see their activities and what they're doing until the end. So I'm going to click live participation, and when I do that, it gives me a code for students. And so, like I said, whenever we go back to nearpod.com, it's going to automatically log me in. All right, so back on the home page, where it says students join a lesson and that wants them to enter a code, that's where you'll put this code, okay? All right, so now that we, oops, let me sign in again real quick. It got confused. Okay, now that we're in there, I want to show you some of the activities that you can have in a Nearpod. And I'm going to do it in this lesson that I just saved. The first thing is called a Draw It. So in here, students can answer this question, what do you think when you hear the words organ donation? They can draw a picture if they want. They can enter in a text box, and they can type words. Or they can actually click right here on this picture, and they can do a Google search. And they can upload a picture like that. So those are the three things you can do in a Draw It, and then they would submit it. Next thing I want to show you is the open-ended question. What you do is you have a question up here for students, and they just type their answer into this text box, and you can have them submit it, and you can see their answer. Next thing that can happen is you can embed a video in your Nearpod. When you're doing a live lesson, it will ask you if you want to have students watch the audio come from your device or everybody's individual devices, and that's up to you. Next thing I want to show you is the poll. For the poll, usually there are different options, and you can click and vote on your option. And it will send the data to teachers in real time. In the next session that we do, I will be able to show you your teacher side and what this will look like. But you can see which students vote for what option. Next thing you're going to see is that you can actually embed a PDF in your Nearpod, so students can read this PDF. And then the last activity I want to show you is the quiz. Works just like a normal quiz, like Quizzes or Kahoot. You can just select your answer and hit next and go through this. And of course, on the teacher side, you see what students are selecting what answers. You can see the percentage of students that are getting things correct. It just really breaks down the data, and it's really nice. And so those are all the activities about Nearpod. Like I said, there are so many more things you can actually do with Nearpod, but this is just the basics of what we're doing. And so now we're going to move to getepic.com. So I want you to go to that website, getepic.com. When you get there, if you haven't made an account, you're going to need to click Get Started to make your account. If you have made an account, this will actually say Log In if you haven't logged in. I have, so it says My Account. So when I click on it, it's going to take me straight to my dashboard. Uh-oh. Let me log into it real quick, actually. There we go. So this is my dashboard. So as soon as you get in and you make your account, you will be able to see they have some kind of a fantastic encouraging word right here. You can see your daily student activity, your class code, some settings, resources, all sorts of things are right here. But before you can give anybody that class code to get in, first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to make a roster. So if you'll hover over this My Students tab, and then you click on roster, that will take you to your roster. You'll have to add your students in. You can see that my students are already in, so you'll come right here where it says add students, and you will click on it. You will type in their first and last name. You can also copy and paste this, or if you have Google Classroom, you can import it from there. You can either do first name and last name, or you can do last name and then first name, whichever one you would like. And so I would recommend having your first name first and then your last name, because whatever name is first is what's going to get displayed, and it can get confusing whenever you have students that have the same last name and then the same first initial. That can get confusing for students because they don't know whose profile belongs to who. So once you have all your students in, you've confirmed that everything's correct, you'll click this confirm button, and then everybody will show up in your roster. Once you've added everybody in your roster, you're probably going to want to sort them into groups. I would recommend doing that because it makes it easier for you whenever you're trying to assign books or you're trying to grade something in Get Epic. So you're going to come right here to this Create Group button. You're going to click it. And then you can name it whatever you want. Since I'm in middle school, I have different class periods, so I would name mine by periods. So we have first period, so on and so forth. So whenever you're done, you click this Create button. And then when I'm ready to add students, I would just highlight all of my first period students. And then I can click this button right here that says Add to Group. And then I just pick which group they belong to. So if they go in first period, and then I can click Done. And then you can see them in here. When you click on this drop-down menu right here that says Class Roster, I could go to first period, and I see all of my first period students in there. So now that you've gotten everybody in and you have separated them into groups, we're going to go back to our dashboard, and I'm going to show you how to give them their class code. So over here to the left side, you see the class code. you can actually click that student login instructions button, and it gives them directions depending on whether they're doing on a laptop or an Android or iPhone. You can print the instructions for students, or you can just put this up on the board. The main thing that they're going to need right here is this class code. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to click that, and it's going to copy. I'm going to open Get Epic in a new tab to show you. So whenever students go to getepic.com, they just have to click on this button right here that says class code. And here's where they're entering that class code that you give them. After you type that in and you click go, it's going to pull up a list of all of the students. You can either type in the name to search it, or they can scroll down and find their name and click it. Once they do so, it will bring them to the Explore page where they can see all the books. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to get to Explore from the dashboard. So here's our dashboard. If you hover over this Explore button, you can see that you can look at it by subject and topic, or you can look over here under Explore All. But I'm actually just going to click the Explore button. And it's going to have me log in again. Hold on one moment. There we go. Gets confused when I start putting in class codes. All right, anyway, I'm going to click that Explore button, and this is going to bring up the Explore page. This is everything that your students see when they log in. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to assign a book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a book that I like. Let's do this one. And you can see whenever I put my mouse over it, I have the option to either favorite it and add it to my library, or I can just click Assign and assign it. So when I click the Assign button, it pulls up all of my students, and if I want everybody to read it, I can click Select All, or I can go in by class period and just have specific class periods, or just click Specific Students. Whenever I'm ready, I will click Assign to Students, and it will automatically send it to their profile. When they click on their profile, they will be able to get a notification that says, hey, Miss Fowler has assigned you a book, and then they will be able to read it. So the same thing with Get Epic as Nearpod. That's just an introduction. There are way more things you can do with Nearpod, of course. But this is just the main stuff that you need to know to get started. I'll give you a printout with all the directions for Nearpod and Get Epic. If you have any questions, my email is on that handout. Feel free to send me an email, and I will use those questions to get the next PD ready for you guys. So hope you have a great day, and I hope you've learned a lot.